I now have $75,000 to spend on covered call ETF. So what the heck am I going to buy with all of that money? Well, in today's video, I hope to unpack maybe a few strategies I'm thinking of as to what I'm going to be doing with that money. Now, if you're new to the channel, my name's Jordan. I have been running covered call ETF investing for the past 2 years to share my wisdom, insights, experiences in when it comes to investing 100% in covered call ETFs here in Canada. And hopefully you get something out of these videos that you can take with you on your own income investing journey. So with all that out of the way, let's get into the main meat and potatoes of this video. And for starters, or I should say the primer for this video, how did I come across $75,000? Did I win it? Did I inherit it? No, I've done something that I've been talking about on this channel for a very, very long time, which is I sold my condo. And through the various things I had to pay off and some other life stuff that came up has led me to $75,000. Again, my wife and I have become very disenchanted with home ownership. Moving up the home ownership ladder, it's not... I just do not want to be married to a mortgage. I do want flexibility in wherever I move. And in this current environment, that is the rent, like going the rental route has actually been a really positive experience for us. Where we moved, it checked off an incredible amount of boxes. We got, a good deal on our place, amazing amenities building, neighborhood kids for my kids to play with, close to shops. It literally has checked off every single box that we could possibly want. And so that's the mountain I've been climbing for the past couple of years, is how to strategize, and selling a place, getting ready, moving in. Like, boy, it sure takes a lot out of you. And especially with the stresses of the current market we're in, well, at least, when it comes to selling a condo in this current environment right now. I mean, articles I'm seeing where realtors aren't accepting clients and just racking up inventories, and there's just nobody on that buying end. Everyone's just kind of waiting, like, are there better deals, just waiting for those prices just to keep going down. We see it the most in the condo market. Luckily, we were pretty fortunate. We lived in an older building, had some pretty funky layouts, but it was on a nice property backed onto a green space. So you essentially have like a backyard right behind you. So we were pretty fortunate enough that way. But been climbing this mountain for a long time. Now that I've climbed it, gotten on to the other end of it, settled in, and I'm sort of in a period of just breathe, do your research. What's the rush? And that's kind of where I am now. And so the first thing I think we want to talk about when it comes to deploying any kind of large sum of money is to talk about accounts. Do you do it into a non-registered? Do you do it into, non-registered account? Do you do it into TFSA, an RSP? Do you do it into an FHSA? All of them have various quirks, or I'd say advantages to them, right? The tax-free savings account, of course, is just a main staple, right? Whatever you earn inside the account is tax-free up to, whatever the contribution limits are for the year or your max total, depending on your age. I happen to be one of the youngest people alive that can take advantage of the full $102,000 space, as I was 19 when the TFSA opened up for the first time. So great advantage for me in that sense. But anyways, with this $75,000, this is like where a lot of my energy is going these days right now. And boy, is it a tug of war in literally with three different accounts. Now, for starters, my wife is a dual citizen, so I figured a TFSA was off the table, like 100%. And then I kind of got reading some stuff, and I went down a rabbit hole with, well, maybe it's actually okay. I went so far as to open an account, but I never deposited anything. I was about to, but then, sort of last minute, I read some stuff where I was like, okay, never mind. If I invest in this it actually could potentially hurt her potential ability to renew her passport and some other various American stuff as well. And there's basically banking, investing, information sharing between Canada and the U.S. as of this. It's short. I forget exactly what it stands for. But it's like FATCA, FATCA, which was something developed in 2014 to allow basically the U.S. and Canada to share banking information, and like potentially if you have a TFSA, you can get found out when it comes time to renew your passport and this other stuff. So once I read sort of all this stuff, I'm like, okay, the TFSA really is off the table, despite some other stuff I read, which basically made the point that, well, if you earn under $15,000 American, you don't have to fill out a tax form, whatever you want to, like, do your taxes. Basically, you don't have to if it's under a certain amount. Then there was some other stuff regarding like, well, is the TFSA really a foreign trust? Which that's where a lot of people see the TFSA. Anyway, those rabbit holes basically got me to a point where, yes, okay, no, do not contribute to a TFSA. Don't do it. So I'm not doing that. Now, the next logical situation would be, hey, why not just invest in a non-registered account? Just stick some money in there, and like, it's basically, if your wife doesn't work, well, it's like next to tax-free anyway. Well, again, not so fast. If no matter how we invest, even if it was in a TFSA, even if it's a non-registered account, this again now triggers some stuff in the U.S. that we would now have to file taxes for, which can be expensive depending on which kind of cross-border tax account you use. Anyway, so there's a lot of stuff on that side of things that I need to consult a tax professional about. And so I'm still on that, but then at the same time, on the CRA side of things, it's not as simple as just giving your spouse who has no income, just give her the money. There are what are called attribution rules. And this essentially means that the CRA could look at my wife's T4 and see, oh, she doesn't work, but wait a minute, she has $75,000 in investments. Like, where do those come from? Probably the husband. He's the one that's, the higher earner. So if they see that and put two and two together, they would end up taxing me at my full, right, my 40% tax bracket. And that's lame, and I don't want to do it. But you can do this thing called an income splitting strategy called a spousal loan. But again, that involves writing up a formal contract, which, I mean, honestly, you can do through ChatGPT. Just put in the correct prompt of like spousal RSP, or write me a spousal RSP between me and my wife where I don't have to pay the principal, or my wife doesn't have to pay the principal back. You can do that. But the CRA also sets like an interest rate that your wife or husband would need to pay to you, which then gets taxed at your marginal tax rate. And currently the CRA has an interest rate of 5% on spousal loans. So again, there's complexity on both strategies. The least complex would be, I just invest this in my own non-registered account, as my TFSA is officially capped as of April. So yeah, but there again, for the long haul, it might just be worth going through some of these headaches, taking a little bit more time to try and figure this out correctly, which I do want to do with my wife with a non-registered account. I think that's probably the better way to go. So anyway, that's, as far as accounts are concerned, that's where my head is at. That's where a lot of energy is going right now. And, I don't want to make the wrong decision in this regard. I'd rather try to just battle it out, figure out, talk to the people I need to talk to. Yes, there's complexity. It's kind of annoying. Well, it's not kind of, it's very annoying. Especially working full time, running channel, and like family life and trying to find the time to like try to put all those puzzle pieces together. So, but it's got to be done. And at the same time, I do enjoy doing it, but like I want to start moving ahead with deploying this cash. Okay, so the account stuff is taking a lot of time, but what about actual investments itself? What would I invest in for my wife? Now, I've talked about doing in the past 50% EQCL, 20% HHIS, another 10% amongst maybe say things like bank, oily, and Utes. Since I like the fact that Evolve is probably the only fund manager that has 25% leverage on the big three Canadian sectors, energy, utilities, and banking. So they have like a trifecta suite that nobody else has. I'll say Hamilton has what? They got, I mean, everybody has like something kind of close, but not all Canadian. And if I'm going to invest in the Canadian space, it's going to be in those three sectors. So I'm not saying that that's off the table, but I kind of wanted a portfolio that was a little bit more mixed up as far as the geography is concerned, a little bit more Canadian, just to help me out with eligible dividends in that regard. And then EQCL is more of a global fund, where half of it is in the US and the other half is in emerging markets, developed markets, and the Canadian landscape as well. And then the complementary piece, which would be the yield booster, which would be HHIS, a fund that is invested in single stock ETFs, 15 high yielders by Harvest. Really interesting. I'm really liking what I'm seeing with HHIS. I've talked about this before, video about it before, and really just taking my time with this one, like how to exactly play it. I made a video where I talked about actually swapping out HYLD.U and my wife's spousal RSP and replacing that with HYLD. But now I'm kind of shifting my tune a little bit around HHIS. I might just simply invest in it wholesale. Just going forward, mainly just for the cash flow aspect of it. I think with 75 grand, I could probably get about 1,600 and change per month off of it. So I'm kind of leaning more that way at the moment with it. Now whether I reinvest wholesale in HHIS or I start building out other positions with those monthly distributions is also still a kind of an up in the air. Like, how exactly would I play it? Do I go for the 50% EQCL, 20% HHIS, and the other 30% amongst various sector Canadian high yielding cover call ETFs, or just keep it simple, do a concentrated fund that has truly, probably in the whole Canadian space, has the max potential. Whether it will or not, I mean, that is yet to it is yet to remain whether that's the actual case. But technically, it has the highest potential for price appreciation and yield. And again, that is a top quality that I do look for, is what funds do have that ability to be at the highest potential equilibrium as far as the price appreciation and yield is concerned in that way. So if I was to invest in it and maybe start building out positions in EQCL and maybe some of these other sector funds, I could see myself maybe doing that, or maybe being a little bit edgy and just reinvest in that. I also realized that with this taxable account, when the new year hits, and we have another, if it's 7,000, I'll probably just take from the non-registered account, put that money in there. Even with RSPs, I may just take from there, put it into basically this account is also probably going to just fund the sheltered accounts as well. So if it's just going to end up getting whittled down more just to fund all this other stuff, and I mean, now that I'm renting, In the next couple of years, I'll be considered a first-time home buyer again. That's 4 calendar years, so I'll probably invest into an FHSA as well. That's going to be another $8,000. So I can see this non-registered just over the year, like honestly, over a, call it 5-year period, like it's going to whittle down. But then there's the other question of like, well, will you just start contributing to it? Maybe your question is, I thought, Jordan, you were going to take the money that you got from your cover call funds and use it to pay for the rent. Well, technically, I guess you can say I can't. I'm doing it slightly differently. Instead of taking the money out of from these funds, what I'm just going to do is the money I would have normally contributed, which is about $1,000 a month, I'm just going to put that money towards my rental, which means I'm not technically actually contributing anything anymore, which is a bit of it's causing me heartburn, like mentally. But if I'm gonna be earning something like $4,500 a month, like that's a huge chunk of money to be reinvesting every single month. So I'm sure there's going to be times where I can contribute, but right now the focus has been, again, house rental, get my family out of an 800 square foot condo into a townhouse, and using the mechanisms that I've built up through cover call ETFs to be able to afford a place like this. And it can't be done. It just means I'm not contributing anymore that I would normally, and everything just keeps reinvesting. And if I need the income, it's right there. Whether it be in the non-registered account, whether it be in the TFSA. The TFSA right now is really the boring place. That's where all my all-in-ones, the HYLDs of the world, the BMAXs, HDIFs of the world, that's where they sit. The boring 12% yielders, which is, it's exciting for me, but I feel like these days, like 12% seems like that's not as exciting anymore. But to me it is. It always will be, as long as they can maintain those distributions. Hey, it's a bonus when they grow. I'm still happy with all of that. So let me know in the comments what you think of some of my thoughts around accounts, my thoughts around investing potentially all in on HHIS, which is a 25% yielding cover call ETF. Do you guys think Harvest is doing a good job with that? Please, by all means, chime in. It's like, I'm like you. I'm not the arbiter of the king on the hill when it comes to this stuff. It's just, I enjoy making videos. I enjoy finance, put the two together, and I just, again, work a regular day job like many of you. So just trying to figure all this stuff out like many of you are out there. So feel free to chime in. I don't offend easy. And you guys are all, overall very nice to me, and I much appreciate that. So with that being said, hit all the buttons of like and subscribe variety, and I will see you all in the next video.